The Historic Cente is a place where past and present coexist harmoniously, and this juxtaposition goes beyond chronology, directly influencing the decision made in this space.
But how has this coexistence impacted and continues to impact the local life and culture?
With modernization came significant changes. Urban planning introduced a new infrastructure aimed at making the city more attractive for tourism and economically viable. For decades, the center of São Luís was shaped by urban plans based on modernist visions of development. The first impact came in 1974, whose first master plan for the city showed São Luís growing and sought to rationalizing the occupation of its physical space and was flexible for future adjustments. In this context, the Historical Cente began to be disseminated under the framework for development, considered beautiful and organic, but suitable for housing. This cemented the idea that the center was no longer habitable. In 1980, the second impact, and is still perpetuating the modern desire, the preservation and revitalization program for the Historic Cente of São Luís, although it recovered urbanistically important points, maintained the idea that people should not live in the historic center. There were few housing initiatives and a lack of incentives despite initial good intentions. The 1992 plan aimed to include the Historical Cente as a World Heritage Site, bring modernization, but also reduce housing and displacing residents to other areas of the city. Even after becoming a UNESCO World Heritage Site, the center was not prioritized as a residential space in any plan, except for one that encouraged public employees to live there. However, with the relocation of public jobs from the center, there was once again a depletion, highlighting the lack of incentive for local residents. In 2019, the Nosso Centro program was created, bringing housing initiatives such as proposal for social housing, but many of them were not fully implemented despite the efforts. In the current scenario, revealing the continued impact of modernity and a current overview of the scene, the new master plan promotes renovations. However, there is an underlying conflict. While there is also an intention to implement social housing, in practice, the opposite occurs, with the space increasingly dedicated and limited to tourism. This approach is being questioned due to its tendency to marginalize the residents in favor of tourist development. All these actions over the past 50 years, although partly aimed at the Historical Center, have actually shaped it more and more to be limited to tourism. This explains the current configuration of the Historical Center, with policies driven by tourism and economic growth impacting the city's cultural identity. On one hand, the state fails to fulfill its responsibilities and insists on a logic of dismantling, prioritizing criteria such as economy and tourism. On the other hand, we have proof that there are people capable of keeping culture alive. Even after decades of dismantling, the state based on modern thinking, and with more than 400 years, the Historical Center continues to be a space of resistance between the modern and traditional. The Historic Center embraces both the modern and the traditional, serving as a stage and witness to significant acts of local popular culture. The resilient locals of the Historical Center uphold our origin and tradition, even without state incentives, being disrespected and overlooked in cultural agendas that now bring nationally oriented attractions little focus on the valorization of what is traditionally ours. But it's sidelined and doesn't seem to matter to a certain extent, as the people of São Luís surpass this barrier and go out to live and honor the cultural spread throughout the street and venues of the Historical Center. Understanding the multifaceted value of this heritage, extending beyond historical context and intertwining with the present, underscores the importance of recognizing it as a space that transcends mere physicality, encompassing cultural diversity and individual expressions.
Preserving and valorizing the historical center of São Luís should involve not only the seasonal tourism,
but also community encouragement and support, promoting housing, creative economy, and above all, safeguarding what sets us apart from the rest of the world, our tradition and local culture.